yes, Mzansi, we're going to carry on with a beautiful conversation that we've been having right throughout this morning and do it with someone very, very special, but we're going to go off the record. Get ready.
Well, it is time to go off the record, like Ralph said, and in a recent interview with Bloomberg, actress extraordinaire Gabrielle Union spoke about how she has built her wealth over the years. What got her trending on Twitter was the fact that she mentioned that her and her husband, ex-baller Dwayne Wade, split everything 50-50. Now, before we get into this conversation, let's just give you a little bit of context.
I think I just have more responsibilities, you know, for my money. So I get nervous, like, oh God, that movie didn't open, you know, well, what does that mean? Am I gonna have enough to hold everybody up? And everyone's like, it's coming, like, calm down. And I'm trying to find peace in the journey, not using my anxiety and scarcity mindset to be my engine, which is hard. It's weird to say I'm head of household because in this household, we split everything 50-50.
Whoa, interesting stuff indeed. Now, as you have obviously heard, this has gotten social media in an absolute frenzy. But why are people so pressed? Now, to help us bring this conversation offline and onto the show, we've got digital content producer Sebastian Newman and radio presenter Carissa Cupido in the building.
Hello.
Good morning, welcome, how are we doing?
Hello, so good, how are you guys?
So good. Listen, this is some interesting stuff. Obviously, the question is, what's going on here? Is this okay? Is this cool? Is it right or is it wrong?
Yeah.
For so many reasons. What's your opinion?
Well, I think it's really important that we bring up the conversation of money in this day and age, because for so often it's been run by a very almost patriarchal way, right? Man is the head of the home and he takes care of the finances. And while some of us still kind of want to lean into that, I think it is important to address how are we splitting these bills today. In a case like Gabe Union, I don't know that it should go 50-50 though. If you consider her relationship with her man, his net worth is 4 times as much as hers.
Oh, wow.
So how are we going down the middle when we're not bringing in the same amount of money? And I think that should kind of be the direction of conversation people should be having. Equity over equality.
Okay.
Also, just a little bit more context.
Yeah.
All of this came about because of an argument that they had. An argument, right? So previously they were in Miami and he was like, this is my house.
Oh.
And she was like, hold up, you will not say that to me again. When we moved to LA, I'm putting in 50%. So that you can't tell me that because then it's our house. So it's almost as though an insecurity was created in a way. So I think we need to also understand that side of it and what the background is here. But yeah.
And how that shifts the power dynamic within a relationship.
It's so interesting you mentioned that because literally just last night, I had my girls, we were all together and we were talking about this. And I think, you know, we were touching on this subject. And I think something we said was that it should all be within proportion. So that's why we want to work around the percentage bargain or the percentage number. But do you think our culture, our background, our religion, the way we were raised, the way, you know, our family structures are, has influenced something like that?
Absolutely. If you look at religion coming from a Christian perspective, the man is the head of the household. Like we know this has been said many times. According to South African culture, in many of our households, the man is the head. And what does that mean when it comes to finances, you know? And I think also if we look at how many of our households are run by women and not men, how does that actually play out in single-headed households when there is no double income or there's no man present? So we always have to look at context to understand the situation better.
Yeah.
It is an interesting question for me because I come from a upbringing where I've seen that old school relationship sort of play out, right? And you see the pros and the cons of it. Obviously, you can mention the cons, but the pros are exactly things that I don't think are always mentioned. Like you have the ability for one partner to go and do something to their best ability because someone else is holding it down. How do you put a value on that?
100%.
How do you put a value on the investment your partner's putting into you in order to allow you to make that cash? That's where I think this conversation gets tricky, and that's why I think we need to possibly look at a new way of doing this.
A new way of splitting the percentage.
Yeah, what do you guys think? I mean, clearly the old way is bringing up too many issues and there's so many variables that we haven't taken into account. What do you think we should look at in terms of moving forward? How do we move forward with this?
I think one thing also, if we just go back to the upbringing as well, is that maybe because you came from like a scarcity, so now it's like you're always working and you're always like, guys, I can't slack, because in the interview she goes on to say that, like, besides her household with Dwayne Wade, she's got to feed her mom, her dad, her sisters, all of that. And if she relaxes for just a little bit, then somebody doesn't have food.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so I think that it's also like all of those pressures, but at the same time, she's still out there, and you know, she was in Neo song. She got her own thing.
Independent.
So she is still like, but hold up, I'm also going to still build my career and do that at the same time. You had your time, you did what you wanted to do, you now retired. So give me a moment.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
I think it depends on the dynamic. I mean, in some households, you are offered the freedom. If a man is holding things down, go ahead and flourish and do your thing. In other households, it does become a power struggle. It becomes the man now makes the rules, tells you what to do, tells you where to go. So it does depend on what's going on within your home.
Yeah.
Very, very
Oh,
true.
well, please don't go anywhere. Bas, Carissa, it's great having you both here as we go off the record. Of course, weigh in on this conversation. We love hearing your thoughts too. You're welcome to do so on our WhatsApp line. Our number is 063 408 8863.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, yes, Mzansi, welcome back to Feel Good Breakfast Show, carrying on with this conversation that is officially going off the record. Yes, it's the segment where we speak about 50-50 conversation. And earlier we obviously covered the actress Gabrielle Union and how her partner and her ex-NBA star, Dwayne Wade, obviously the partner of hers, are going half on everything. So we are hearing his response right now and obviously his side of what he had to say. Let's check this one out.
Right.
Okay, so I understand what 50-50 means.
Right.
50-50 means that everything in life, you got your half and I got my half.
Right.
And we're going to put shit together
Right.
to try to make 100.
Right.
Okay?
We about to order about with the grocery. You put in 100, I put in 100.
That's how 50-50 goes.
That's how we look at
That is not how our relationship works. All right? We don't, see, everybody think 50-50. They think, hey, if he getting a sandwich, you got to put 50% on that.
Right.
He got 100, 200, whatever people think I got.
Right.
That's not how it works.
Right.
50-50 in our household is, first of all, let's say I have 20 to 50 responsibilities.
Right.
And my wife have 20 to 50 responsibilities. And when I say that, that means she has a mother, she has her sisters, she has her dad, she has a lot of things that she's responsible for.
Right.
You know what she does?
Right.
She pays 100% of that.
Right.
You know what I do? I pay 100% of my life.
Okay.
There we go. Well, listen, we asked you to weigh in on the conversation, and that's exactly what you did. So let's take a look at our Facebook page. We have Jolene say, if they're happy with their agreement, then I think it's fine. People are always going to have opinions. They need to do what works for them. Patience says, I think 50-50 just means we carry the load together without really counting who is paying more than the other. If something needs to be paid for, I just pay for it, and my partner does the same. No calculation. That's the first couple of quick comments.
Yeah, they keep on coming through. Shell Coven also says 50-50 is their way of showing love, irrespective of who earns more. Partnership is love. And then Bernadine says he should pay more. I like that.
I love that, Bernadine.
Man's
coming
got
through
money,
with
bring
the
it on.
comments. Now, is this a matter of, you know, this partner earns more, they need to pay more, or what are we getting at here? Like, because that is what the whole debate is about. People have an issue with the 50-50.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think also it comes down to the fact, like, the interview goes on and he says that he'll go and he'll be like, you know what, we're going on a trip this weekend. He puts $200 into the trip. She's like, no, I'm also going to put $200 into the trip and let's have a better trip. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, like amplify it.
Yes, let's,
Okay,
like, if we
okay.
can, let's do it. So I think that there's also that side of it. And in the sense of your question, Zoe, I think it's like, in your relationship, are you not building together? Are you not, like, if we're deciding to be married, are we not building a future and a life together? So if you are earning more, there's obviously a certain lifestyle that you can attain and that I can. But if we come together, we can do the most.
Can be liquor for all of us.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think money is not the only thing that we can think about. Invisible labor is a real thing
Yeah.
that women often take on in the household. Like, you see a space that's clean all the time, that doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
You have socks in your drawer, that doesn't
What
just
is it? Not just a fairy, is it?
Not just a theory, sorry to break it to you, but things happen seamlessly because women often put in that work. So if we're going to talk about money and we're going to talk about men's effort, also talk about the effort women put in. So maybe it's not a conversation of 50-50. Maybe it's not down the middle. Maybe it is, this is what I bring to the table, what are you bringing, and let's take it from there.
And maybe somehow ascertain a value to what that
Exactly.
is that you're bringing through. I like this
invaluable.
conversation.
Or maybe it just like evens out.
It evens out. It
The
evens
thing
out.
is, again, for me, at the end of the day, relationship essentially means that you're unifying two into one. So essentially, everything should just add to that one basket, ideally. But
Why are we counting?
yeah, like
You know what? Our past traumas have led us to this point because, yes, we are in this bubble together. Yes, we're in a union, but the problem often stems when that relationship's no longer fruitful. Then people turn around and be like, this is what I paid for this. And then it becomes, that resentment kicks in. So I think that's why, at least from Gabrielle's side, I can understand why she would want to do something 50-50, whether it is 50-50 in terms of to the cent or just meet her partner with equal effort, so that when things don't work out, you can say, we've done equal efforts, everything that's there should be split.
And in the end of the interview, he says, she's out there building, and I'm spending, he keeps referring to his cheese. He's like, I'm spending my cheese, so you come back. And then he alludes to the fact, like, if this doesn't work out, you've got 200 cheese, and I've got nothing because I spent it on all these things. And I'm like, why are you
Now
even
what?
thinking about...
the end.
Because
I see what you say. Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
You can't help it. I mean, there's no guarantees in life. And I think it's just everyone's way of looking out for themselves. I think we've learned from
sign
the
that
past. All about the prenup.
I absolutely love this conversation, guys. Thank you so much. As much fun as we have for this off-record conversation, I think it applies so pertinently to all of us, whether we are in a relationship or looking for one. I think, like Zoe also mentioned earlier and everybody else on our panel, the most important thing is communication. It is to have your own relationship and your own understanding and ascertain what value you're both bringing to it and add it to that one beautiful basket that you can create. I don't know, it's an option, but it's your relationship. You decide. Guys, thank you so much for this conversation. I absolutely loved it. And let's push on.